The next time you reach for that diet soda or sugar-free gum or low-calorie snack, take a beat, because they most likely contain a chemical that nearly 45 years after being approved by the FDA is found to potentially cause serious health risks. Let's welcome Christina Gover O'Donnell, Certified Diabetes Educator for Robert St. Francis Healthcare. Glad you could be with us today.
Thank you so much.
And of course, we're talking about the sweetener that we have come to know and love, which is aspartame. And now we're seeing studies coming out that researchers are considering this a potential carcinogen of all things.
Yes, so there was a release that it is being considered potentially carcinogenic to humans. The evidence that supports that is actually weak, and generally with scientific research we prefer strong evidence, of course, but right. I don't think we can blame these major medical societies for wanting to be more conservative wherever risk for cancer might be involved. So that is the current statement. Evidence is weak, but
so let's talk about that. So if it could potentially have a carcinogenic effect on humans, what are the risks? You mentioned cancer.
Right, so the risks that we do know have been strongly suggested are the risk of causing things like type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and obesity. And like with anything, moderation is the key. Some people choose to avoid it. More power to them if they do. But moderation is definitely going to be key with these things, yes.
So reaching for that occasional diet soda, or if you like to chew gum, that's not really going to have a damaging effect on your health, is that what you're saying?
To the best of what we know right now, that's correct. The current adequate daily intake is 40 milligrams per kilogram of body weight for aspartame. So for someone like myself, that would be about 2 grams of aspartame a day.
What does that look like?
About 2 diet sodas.
Oh,
and
okay.
For me as a dietitian, I would not even recommend that amount. I like to say no more than 1 diet soda a day, or something like 1 equal in your coffee. But
right.
Other dietitians might have a little bit more of a lenient approach. Some dietitians say not at all. Being specialized in diabetes as I am, there are benefits definitely as well with blood sugar management. So I do moderate it that way.
Right. And I'm seeing, I think, as people are starting to reject chemicals in our foods, we're seeing sort of, I don't know if you want to call it a resurgence or a rediscovery of using cane sugars in a lot of our products. So someone who's familiar with diabetics, that's not necessarily a good alternative, is it?
Right. And that, again, that falls under the everything in moderation, but with diabetes, we like to say no. For added sugar itself, for men, it's no more than 36 grams of added sugar a day is recommended. For women, no more than 25 grams a day. And again, as a dietitian, I don't even recommend that much. So additives, adding sugar, I should say, it raises blood sugar levels, increases risk of heart disease, increases weight. So there are pros and cons of each.
What are some good alternatives?
Stevia is a good alternative.
Really?
Yes. So stevia itself is a natural sweetener. It's derived from a leaf. There is the option of monk fruit sweetener, although research looking at the long-term health outcomes, it's very limited right now. One study suggested that monk fruit sweetener might be tied to heart conditions or heart complications such as heart attack or stroke. But again, that was one study. In scientific research, we like to have an abundance of studies.
And what about, say, date sugar, agave, honey?
So those natural sweeteners, they are the same thing as sugar. Yes, they are. And that is where it gets very confusing, because there's a lot of information out there contradicting that. But there's no difference between how your body breaks down white sugar, brown sugar, honey, agave nectar, maple syrup. It's a lateral move to go from one to the next.
Oh, okay. But honey's supposed to be good for you, though, isn't it?
It is supposed to be good for you. That's the word on the street. But it does have seasonal benefits for if you have a local honey for people who have seasonal allergies. But instead, I recommend bee pellets from a local source for that instead of the honey. Yes, just because it will still have the same blood sugar effects as regular sugar.
And if you're like me and you use agave in your margaritas, you're not necessarily doing a body good. So just everything in moderation, as we have heard. Thank you so much for clarifying this for us. We appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
We're back after this.